friends, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Game Garden, and welcome to the monthly wrap-up for June. It is now July, which, can we just talk about the fact that it is already halfway through 2023? It's pretty crazy. I will have a video up probably next week on games, 2023 releases that I like so far throughout the year, like my top 10 so far for 2023, so definitely get excited for that. I also did want to go over some of my 2023 challenges with you guys, but I forgot my planner upstairs, so I will probably have to go get that at the end of this video. But if you guys want to see my stats, my board game stats for June, as well as all the games that we played multiplayer, then just keep on watching. I will also have my solo games up a little bit later this week. But if you guys want to see that, then just keep on watching. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy. Also hit that subscribe button if you've yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. And comment down below all the games that you guys played in the month of June. And let's get into this video, shall we? Alright, so getting into the board game stats, I always use the BG Stats app, so if you guys want to go check that out. It is up on, I believe, iOS and Android. I'm not 100% sure about Android, but I have an iPhone, so you can get it on iOS. But for June, my monthly stats were, I played 37 games, which I'm pretty sure May was 36, June was 37. So I played one more game than I did the month before. So 37 plays, 29 different games, and I'm gonna go and actually look at the games to see how many of these were new to me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 21. 21 of those were new to me. So out of the 29 games that I played this month, 29 different games, 21 of them were new to me, which is pretty crazy. I've been playing a lot, or I've been getting a lot of opportunities to play new games to me, games that I don't even have in my collection, and I've been really trying to keep myself open to the different types of games and to trying games that I typically normally wouldn't, which I think I touched on in last month's wrap-up, but this has continued into June as well, and I played a lot of interesting games that I didn't think I would like, but I ended up really enjoying. So yeah, 21 different games. And then as for BGA plays, I haven't really been playing as much BGA as I typically do. I feel like my schedule has gotten pretty crazy, so I don't really have a lot of time in the mornings to sit down and play BGA games like I was before, but a total of 20 BGA plays, and some of the games that I played were Seven Wonders, Boop, Tapestry, Go Nuts for Donuts, which is quite a funny game. I was so bad at it. I lost insanely badly, but anyways, I also played a ton of Arc Nova. If you guys didn't know, Arc Nova was the solo focus for June. Yes, June. It was the solo focus for June, so I played it a ton solo, and then I also played it multiplayer a ton as well. I also played Stone Age, The Castles of Burgundy, The Isle of Cats, Wingspan, Res Arcana, Hadrian's Wall, which Hadrian's Wall just recently got added to the alpha part of BGA. I was invited to a few games, and it's very buggy at this point, but I'm sure that they will fix those bugs, and eventually it'll come to beta, and then it'll be available to everyone. But I am so excited. I love Hadrian's Wall so much, and that will make it even easier to get it to the table and to play it more often. So that is Hadrian's Wall. And then I also played Spots, which is a cute little push your luck dice rolling game about dogs. Dalmatians. It was very cute. And then I also played Lost Ruins of Arnak. So that was everything for my board game stats for June. 20 plays on BGA, 37 in person. But let's get into all the games that I played and what I thought of them. Starting off with the first day of the month on June 1st, I ended up going over to my friend Daryl's house, and we ended up playing a game called Darwin's Journey, which is one that just recently fulfilled on Kickstarter, and a lot of people have been getting it and playing it, and I've heard a ton of good things. A lot of people are buzzing about it, a lot of people are hyped about it, And a lot of people are saying that it is like the best game of 2023 so far, or the best release of 2023 so far. And I really enjoyed it. The first play, it's a lot. It is a pretty big, I think it's like a medium heavy board game, and it is a worker placement game, and you are collecting different species of animals, and you are upgrading your different workers in order to allow them to go to certain places on this board with a bunch of different worker placement spots. And the worker placement rules, this is the only thing that I didn't love, and I think this is something that a lot of us around the table were also not loving, is just the small little rules for worker placement and things like that. We were a little bit confused as to like what we have to pay for people on certain spots, and if someone's here and you go here, do you have to pay them or do you have to do something else? Can you even go there in the first place? All of these different things. So the small little rules for the worker placement was a little bit confusing because it was our first time. And I do know, I believe that the Dice Tower actually did a review and then they had to take it down because they were playing something wrong, and I actually haven't watched, so maybe it was something to do with the worker placement. I feel like the rules are a little bit confusing the first few times that you play, but eventually I think by the end of the game we kind of figured it out. But overall it is a gorgeous game. It was very fun. It's your typical Euro game. You have a lot of, you have to do this before you can do this, before you can do this, before you can do this. So there's a lot of pre-planning, which is something that I am not very good at all. So I didn't do great. I'm pretty sure I got maybe last or possibly third. My friend Aiden was also playing, and he got himself into a position where he kind of got stuck. And this was the one thing that was really interesting about the game, is that you could get yourself in a situation where you kind of can't get out of it, and he was trying the whole game to try to get out of this hole, to, you know, make his way back to where we all were with like victory points and stuff, but he just couldn't. He was trying his hardest the whole game, and it made me so sad, and you could tell that he wasn't enjoying it. So it's one that I would love to try again and see if it is better the second time that we play, now that we know the rules better and now we know like the strategy and more of what we're doing better, if that makes sense. I would love to try that one again. But yes, that was Darwin's Journey. It also did take us quite a long time to play and learn. That ended up being the only game that we played that night. But moving on to the next day, this was that following Saturday. It was June 3rd, and I actually went to a local con called TabsCon, and we played a bunch of different games. We started off with Books of Time, which I did make a full video on this, a full preview on this, so if you guys want to go check that out, it'll be up here. But Books of Time is a very fun, I really enjoy this one. I actually want to play it again. This is one that I also played solo this month, so I will be talking about that in the solo video, but it's very fun. You are like adding pages into these 3 different books, and it's really just one of those games where you are trying to be the most efficient with like different resources and exchanging resources to do different things in order to go up a few tracks, in order to get certain pages into these books by exchanging different resources, and just trying to do that in the most efficient way. And I just love efficiency puzzles in board games, so this was one that I really enjoyed and want to play more. And then we played a game called Bullet Heart, which I've heard a lot of good things about this from some people in the Board Game Garden community. A lot of people rave about the solo of this, so I do want to try this one solo. It was actually my friend Aiden's copy of Bullet Heart, and I think he mentioned that he might want to get rid of it, so I might just buy it off of him, because I do think that Francis and his like family would enjoy this one. It is a real-time game where you are pulling these chips out of a bag and you're placing them into these different columns, and you're trying not to bust, and you have these different cards where you can place things and then move things to a particular kind of setup so that you can get rid of tiles or the chips that you're pulling out of your bag. So you're trying to kind of put these things into particular shapes in order to get rid of them, so that eventually if you do have an entire column that has chips and the chip that you pull has to go all the way down to the bottom, that one goes over to like your damage, and then if you do get all of your damage like covered up with tiles, then you are out of the game. And then you are trying to get these little tiles off of your board, and whatever ones you get off of your board actually go to the neighbor beside you, so then they have to add all of the chips that you got rid of that round into their bag for the next round. So it's this very fun puzzle of trying to get rid of the most as possible so that your neighbor has to deal with all of the ones that you got rid of for that round. You do have to deal with the ones that are from your other neighbor, but yeah, it's a really good time. You have some like different abilities, some different characters, some asymmetric abilities. So that one was very fun. And then next up, we actually played a game called Raw. This wasn't my copy, but I did actually just recently get a copy of Raw from 25th Century Games, so huge thank you to them. But I played Raw for the first time. This is a pretty old game, but 25th Century Games just recently came out with a reprinting of it. It is so nice looking, and the components are absolutely gorgeous. And this was very fun. This was a game that I did not expect to like as much as I did. I did actually win when we played Raw, so that might contribute to how much I enjoyed the first play of it. But basically, I kind of consider Raw to be like Sushi Go Party, but with like bidding and like auctioning, I guess, if that makes sense. You are bidding. I don't really know the difference between bidding and auctioning, but you're bidding for these different tiles. You have these like certain little circles that you have 3 different numbers of, and those are your bidding amounts for that round. And then you can bid with those in order to gain tiles that come out. And then, so there's a bunch of tiles in a row, and everyone starts bidding on those. Whoever wins gets all those tiles, and those tiles are going to be a bunch of different things that can get you different points in different ways, similar to the cards in Sushi Go Party. So I really enjoyed that one. It's like a little bit of like set collection and all those things, but then some of the tiles you do like get rid of at the end of a round. Some of them stay for the whole game. So very fun, really enjoyed that one, and didn't really think I would because I'm not too much into bidding, auctioning games, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm very excited to introduce that one to family and friends. So that is Raw. And we moved on to a game called Court of Miracles, which this was my friend Aiden's game, and he always talks very highly of this one. I do think that this might be one of his favorite games. I honestly don't really remember how the game plays too well. There's something about you have to place one of your little things onto different areas of the board, and then once that area gets full, it's kind of, because I played Fractured Sky not too long ago on TTS, and there's this thing where you're placing down numbers that are hidden from the other players, and then once a location has been filled, you flip over, or once all of the ships have been placed or whatever, all of the locations, little tiles get flipped, and then whoever has the most strength there or the highest number there is the one that like wins that location. That's kind of similar to the Court of Miracles, where you're placing down these numbers, and then once that location is full, all of those tiles gets flipped over. Whoever has the largest number, some of the tiles have like special abilities and stuff too, but whoever has the highest number and wins that location gets to place one of their like colored tokens on that location, and then you like control that location, and then the different locations give you special rewards and stuff like that. And it was very fun. I enjoyed it. I do think that I enjoyed Fractured Sky a little bit more, just because Fractured Sky kind of incorporates resource management and stuff like that as well. And I did enjoy the art and the look of Fractured Sky a little bit more, but the Court of Miracles was very fun. It was nice and quick, and I feel like it would be a good one to introduce to people that are new to board games. So that was the Court of Miracles. And then lastly, for TabsCon, we did end up playing some Dutch Blitz. All of these games are actually in a vlog that I did. I did like a full like board game vlog. So if you guys want to go see that, it is over on my main channel, which is Generose. That's where I do some more like vloggy style stuff. So if you guys want to go see that, I will put it up here possibly. Again, I'm not 100% sure if you can put other videos, but I think you can. So definitely go check it out. I'm going to try to upload more vlogs over there and include more board games in the vlogs. So yes, I played all of these on that vlog if you guys want to go check that out. But yes, Dutch Blitz is fantastic. I love Dutch Blitz. I've been playing it quite a bit more recently because I've been just trying to bring it to a bunch of like different get-togethers. So Dutch Blitz was very fun and everyone at the table enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure my friend Aiden, he purchased Dutch Blitz the last time that we went to our friendly local game store because he enjoyed it so much at TabsCon. So that was the Saturday, and then moving on to the Sunday, I played a solo game, and then Francis's parents came over and we played 2 different games. The first one is a game called Illiterati, which is a like word game. It is a cooperative word game, and I have really been enjoying this one. I am never really a huge fan of like spelling games. We have paperback, which I enjoy, but I'm really bad at, and it's one that I would love to get better at. But Illiterati, you are working cooperatively, so it's a little bit easier because I can have other people help me, which I guess in paperback someone can help you, but then they do benefit from helping you. So I typically don't love having people help me in paperback because I don't want them to benefit from it. But Illiterati is very fun because everyone can kind of work together, and basically you are trying to come up with words during a round. It is a real-time game, so you have a certain amount of time. I think it is like 3 minutes, 2 minutes? I think it might be 3 minutes. But you have 3 minutes to spell a bunch of words with these letter tiles that you get. If you have any letters that are not able to get into a word, you put them into the center, which is the library, and then over, I think any that you have over 3, if you do have over 3, you do have to burn a book or burn a letter, which if you end up burning 4 letters in total, you lose. So you're trying to use as many letters as possible. You each have some like different objective books that you're trying to do. So there are red books and blue books. The red books are going to be different objectives or different words that you're trying to spell that has some sort of theme to them. So your book might be holidays and special events. So you would have to kind of spell some words that relate to holidays and special events, Christmas, Halloween, all those different things. So you kind of have to go for a theme with the words, and then the blue ones are more with like grammar and stuff. It might be like spell 4 words that all start with the same first letter, different things like that. So you're trying to get through 1 red book each and 1 blue book each, and then once everyone has done that, you have to do 1 final chapter in order to beat the Illiterati, the Illuminati, and it's very fun. I really enjoy it. Francis and his family also really enjoyed it as well. It plays up to 5 players. I wish it played up to 6 players, but it was still very fun when we played it, and yeah, really happy that we got that one. A huge thank you to Gap Closer Game for sending that over, but that is Illiterati. And then the second game we ended up playing with Francis' family was Priorities. This is a new game that is actually coming out in Target, I believe. It was from Clarendon Games, which a huge thank you to them for sending that over. But we ended up playing this one. I played this quite a few times this month, and guys, this is such a fun party game. It actually reminds me a little bit of a game that I used to play when I was younger called Who Knew? I think it was like Cranium Who Knew. And basically in Who Knew, you have to give a card to the active player that you think they like the most. And then once everyone has given the active player a card, the active player has to rank them from what they like most to least in front of them, and whoever has the thing that, or whoever gave the thing that they like the most gets the most points, and then going down from there. So you're trying to give the active player something that you think they will like the most out of all of the cards that have been given by all the other players. But in Priorities, this kind of flips it and makes it a cooperative game where you have 5 different cards in the center, a bunch of different random things, and there's going to be 1 active player that has a board, and they are going to rank those 5 different things secretly from the other players, from what they like the most to the least, and then all the other players, once that player has put their ranking face down on the table, they all have to work together to try to put the 5 different things in order from what they think the player likes the most all the way to the least, and then the player will reveal what their actual ranking was. Whatever ones they got correct, you flip over and it actually has a letter on the back, and then you're trying to cooperatively spell the word priorities. And this game has brought so many laughs, and I've played this with family. I've also played it with people that I have started to become friends with that we don't really know a ton about each other, but it's great to kind of just guess, and then like whatever ones, we don't really take it too seriously with like the scores and stuff. It's just fun to like get to know people better, and all of the like different things that they have to rank are just hilarious, and it just brings a lot of laughs to the table, and it is so much fun, and I definitely recommend checking it out once it gets released at Target. I will try to remember what the date is when it's being released at Target, but I will put it here. I believe it's at the beginning of July, so definitely go and see if it is released at your local Target. But yes, that is priorities. Next up on the 6th, Francis and I streamed over on Twitch. If you guys do not know, I stream every Tuesday and Sunday for the most part. Sometimes I do have to cancel for different things or move things different days, but on Tuesdays, sometimes I play solo, sometimes I play 2-player with Francis, and we ended up playing on June 6th Merchant's Cove, which I've chatted about before here on the channel. We've played it at 4 players before, and then we decided to try it at 2 players. I still really want to play Merchant's Cove at a solo player count as well, because I want to try all of the different factions or the different characters. But Francis and I ended up playing over on Twitch, and we played Francis played the Alchemist, I believe. That is the one with the marbles. And then I played the Blacksmith, which is the dice mitigation dice worker placement, and I've been really enjoying Merchant's Cove. It is so much fun to play the same game but go at it from a completely different standpoint and a completely different mechanism. It just feels like almost a different game every single time. The first time I played the Oracle, which is the roll and write, and it feels so different playing that compared to the Blacksmith. So I'm very excited to try the Alchemist. That one has been looking fun to me. Unfortunately, our friend Tyler didn't have a great time with it, but Francis said he enjoyed it, so I do want to try that one. We also have all of the like expansion ones. I really would love to get the new expansion ones. They have 4 or 5 new characters. I think it's called like the Master something expansions, but I believe they are fulfilling on Kickstarter soon, so maybe if they come to retail, fingers crossed, I can maybe grab those, but I would love to try all of the new factions, all of the, I keep on saying factions, but they're like characters, and all the different characters have a different mechanism, and the new ones look super, super cool. But yes, that is Merchant's Cove. Really enjoy that one. All right, so moving on to that following Thursday. Thursdays are usually when I get together with my friends, Tyler and Aiden, sometimes Daryl, but Daryl is a very busy guy. He's always traveling. But this particular Thursday, we went over to my friend Aiden's house, and Tyler was running a little bit later. So Aiden and I actually played Wizards of the Grimoire, which is, I believe, not a 2-player only game. I originally thought it was, but I think you can actually play it up to 4 players. But I do think that this would be best as a head-to-head 2-player game. But basically it is a like wizard dueling game where you have spells and you are casting these spells back and forth in order to get your opponent down to 0 health. You both start at 60 and then you're trying to beat the player. But yes, it is very fun. You start with 6, or you don't start with 6 spells. You actually draft different spells as you go throughout the game, and you can get up to 6 different spells, and each of the spells have different abilities. Some deal damage, some allow you to take mana and place it on another spell, a bunch of different things, but you actually have like a cooldown phase as well where you're taking the mana off. So the more mana that a spell requires, the longer you're going to have to wait until you can play that spell again. So you're having to take off mana 1 card at a time. So yes, I really enjoyed Wizards of the Grimoire. It's one that I've had on my shelf of opportunity for a very long time, and I don't know why I waited so long. It was definitely probably the biggest surprise of the month, and I am so excited to play it more. I want to be able to play this more, so I'm hoping that Francis plays it more with me. But yes, that is the Wizards of the Grimoire. by Grimoire Games. They did send that over, so a huge thank you to them. You guys made a good game. I really, really enjoyed it. But once we were finished with Wizards of the Grimoire, we played Ark Nova at 3 players, which I don't think Aiden and Tyler enjoyed Ark Nova very much. I don't know what it was, but I really enjoy Ark Nova, so I'm hoping that maybe if they play it again, they will enjoy it. But I'm pretty sure at the end of that game, Aiden was like, okay, I'm going to sell my copy of Ark Nova. I don't know, maybe some people don't like it as much as others. I enjoy it, but I can understand people not liking it for sure. So yes, we played Ark Nova, and that was the end of that game night. I played a solo game, I played another solo game, and then that following Wednesday, June 14th, I went to my bi-weekly Board Game Gals meetup, and we played a bunch of different smaller games. I don't know if there was like a theme to this night. Typically there's like a theme. The most recent one that we did was a cooperative theme, but I think this one was just a let's play games. So we ended up playing 4 different games. The first one was Animal Kingdoms, which I've talked about this game before, and I want this game so bad. I think it is pretty difficult to find, but basically it is I don't even know what like the mechanics would be for this game, but it is a like card playing area majority game, I guess. Basically there are 5 different spaces around the board that you're having to play a particular card. There are, I think, 1 to 8, and then there are 8 different suits. So all the different suits are different animals, and the art in this game is absolutely gorgeous. And you're playing down these cards to these 5 different spots, and they all have like a particular rule. So one of them might be you have to play an even card or an odd card, or you can only play the neighboring numbers or something like that. So you have to play a particular card, and then once you play that down, you place one of your cubes onto that area for a little bit of area majority. And I don't know what it is about this game, but I need it in my collection. I really enjoy it. Please let me know if you ever see this game for sale somewhere. Let me know, because I want this game in my collection real bad. But that is Animal Kingdoms. And then I actually played Dorfromantik, which is a game that I've been hearing a lot about. I do believe that it was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres, so that might be why I've been hearing some more talk about it. But we played Dorfromantik, the board game, which it is also a like video game on the Switch, which I just recently downloaded as well. Once I played Dorfromantik, the board game, I actually wanted to get to the video game version or the Switch version as well. And there's a possibility that I might want to add the board game to my collection as well, because I've heard a lot of good things about the like solo play of it. But it is a cooperative tile laying game. It is very simple, where basically you're just trying to create groups of certain things, create groups of houses and forests and fields and water and railways and stuff like that. And you're just going turn by turn, picking up a tile and then placing it in certain spots. It is cooperative, so you can chat through it and you'll like decide as a group where the best spot would be. And there's different like tiles that you can unlock, and it's just such a chill, simple game, but there's something about it that is just so nice. I think it is like the unlocking things. I've experienced this more personally in the video game, where you do unlock different tiles once you get to a certain score. We didn't really do much of that in the like in-person cooperative game, but Kat, the one that brought the board game, has said that she's been really enjoying that solo and unlocking all of the different tiles and stuff like that, and different scoring opportunities. She says has been very fun. So that is Dorfromantik. We also played a game called Coloretto, which is just a simple card game. I think it's been like a card game that's been around for a while, and I've seen it many, many times, but I've never actually played it. But it's a very simple, just like card drafting set collection game, where you are flipping a card and then placing it into one of 4 groups. And then once those get to 3, each player has to draft those 3 cards. And then you are only able to score for, I think it's like your top 2. You score positive points for the groups or the colors that you have the most of. And then any other cards, I believe, are negative. I could be wrong, but we played it once. It was very fun and I really enjoyed that one. And then to finish off the night, we played a game called Dice Heist, which is a game from AEG that I've never heard of before, but it was very fun. It's a little bit of a push your luck game where you are flipping over a card. There are 4 different like places, like locations that you're like stealing from. You're like thieves. But there are 4 different places. You're flipping over a card and that card's going to go to a particular location. It's going to be like a good that you can steal. And you can flip over that card and then you can either decide to gain a die, which is I guess like an assistant or like another thief that you can add to your group. Or you can decide I'm going to try to steal from this location. So then you would roll all of your dice or some of your die. And then if you get like a certain number, you're able to steal those things from that location. And if you don't, then you just don't get to steal things. It was a fun little game, really enjoyed it. A little bit of push your luck, a little bit of dice rolling, good time. But yes, that was all of the games, or those were all of the games that we played on June 14th. Moving on to the 15th, that following Thursday, I again hung out with my friends Aiden and Tyler. We went to Tyler's house this time and we played 2 games. One was Abyss, which Abyss has always scared me solely for the cover. You guys can see it right here. This is a scary cover. I don't know if it makes you want to play this game, but it didn't make me want to play this game. But it's a very fun game, and I actually played it twice this month. I will talk about it in a second when I played it again, but this was the first play of it, and I was very surprised by this one. Basically, you have a few different things that you can do. You can either explore, where you are flipping over cards. I'm not going to get too much into it. It's a slightly heavier game, not too heavy, but you're flipping over cards of different colors, and then at any time you can say you want that card, and then you're building this hand of cards of different colored, I don't even know what they are. Different colors. They're different colors that are associated to different like groups, underwater groups. I don't even know. I'm doing a horrible job explaining this, but then with those colored cards, you can purchase these different, there's a specific name for them. They're like the people of the different factions, I guess. Each of the colors is a faction. We're gonna go with that. So you are paying the cards that you've collected in your hand in order to gain these different faction people. You're placing them in front of you, and each of them have different abilities that you can use throughout the game. And then once you get 3 keys, some of the people have keys, and you can also gain keys in different ways. But once you have 3 keys, you actually have to get a location. Locations are going to require those people to be placed at that location, so you're kind of losing those abilities. You're building up this tableau of these different faction people, but then once you use them to have a location or build a location, you're gonna lose them from your tableau. So you're losing their abilities and you're giving them up in order to get some end game scoring. So it's this really interesting thing where you have to time out well when you gain all these things for your tableau, using their abilities, but then kind of thinking when the time is right to say, I don't need their abilities anymore, so you can put them into location and kind of forfeit their abilities. So I really enjoyed this one. I won it the first time we played, so the night that I'm talking about now, but then I epically failed the next time we played, so I think it was just like a first time luck kind of thing. But after we played Abyss, we played Verdant, which is part of the Cascadia Calico series. Verdant was the one that I hadn't played yet, and it's one that, like, looking at it, you think like this is perfect for the board game garden, but for some reason I just didn't play it for a while. But I'm happy to say that I really enjoyed it. I cannot say as of now if I enjoy it more than Cascadia or Calico, but it was a really fun like puzzle, much like Calico and Cascadia, where you're trying to place things in certain spots in order to gain victory points. I think I missed, there was like a very important part of gaining victory points where you're trying to surround a room with certain things, which I didn't really realize, and then I totally just didn't do that, so I failed epically and lost epically. But I think I would enjoy Verdant again if I played it and actually played it correctly. So yes, that was that night. And then following that on I believe it was a Saturday, I ended up going over to my friend Aiden's house and we played 2 games. One was Abyss for the second time, which, like I said, I failed and lost really badly. But the other game that we played was Monumental, which this is another game that I saw and I'm like, I'm not gonna like that one. And then Aiden also mentioned that there was like combat and like kind of dudes on a map game, which whenever I hear dudes on a map, I'm just like, I'm out, goodbye, I'm not playing. But I stuck around, I played it, and I enjoyed it. I don't think it's like one of my favorite games ever. I did really bad, but there's this one part of the game that I really enjoyed and I thought was a really cool way of like choosing actions and like gaining resources. Basically, on your turn, you have a 3x3 grid of cards that you put out, and you have to choose one row and one column to kind of, they tell you to like turn the cards a little bit so you know what row and column that you're activating, which I think is a little bit finicky, I will say that. But you pick a row, you pick a column, and then you gain those resources. There's going to be some cards that give you resources. There are going to be some cards that give you special abilities. And then you're using those resources to go out on the map, expand on the map. You are using resources to buy more cards, different things like that. I really enjoyed that mechanism of choosing a row and a column and then kind of playing with those resources and those abilities for that turn. The dudes on the map kind of expanding and going towards other people and then like trying to take over other people's spots and stuff, I didn't love, but that's just something that I don't think I will ever like. I don't know. I don't like confrontation in games. I don't like to take things away from people. I don't like when people take things away from me. I get real pissed. But Monumental was a fun one and I'm happy that I did play it and I would play it again for sure, but it's one that I don't feel like I need in my collection. But now that Aiden has it, I would be down to play it again. But that is Monumental. All right, so moving on to that following Sunday, I played a solo game. That following Tuesday, Francis and I streamed again on a Tuesday on Twitch, and we played 2 different 2-player only games. Technically, Wizards of the Grimoire is not 2-player only, but we played Wizards of the Grimoire. I was really, really excited to introduce that to Francis, and I do think that he enjoyed it. I freaking love that game and I want to play more. But we also played a game called Caper Europe, which I've heard a lot of good things about this one. I think Z Garcia said that it was his favorite game of 2022. But I played this a few times on BGA, really enjoyed it, loved the play of going back and forth and drafting cards and then placing them down at the different locations. And I ended up getting a physical copy of this. I actually traded a few games with my friend Steph and we ended up getting a Caper Europe in the collection. It is from Keymaster Games. It is the same people that make Parks and they make some fantastic components and production. Their game production is very good. So Caper Europe is absolutely gorgeous and I really enjoyed, I do think that actually Francis enjoyed this one more than he did Wizards of the Grimoire. But basically it is a 2-player only game where you have 3 locations in between the 2 of you and you are drafting cards in one round and you're drafting different like thieves, I guess. And then after you're finished drafting your thieves and then placing them in the 3 locations, each of them is going to give you some like endgame bonuses, endgame scoring. Some give you things right away, different things like that. But then you move on to the next round where you are drafting gear that you're going to be adding to these thieves. And those are going to give you some instant benefits. They're going to give you some endgame scoring, different things like that. Really, really enjoy Caper Europe. It's again one that I do want to play again. So that is that. I played a few more solo games and then it was another board game gal meetup. On June 26th, we ended up playing 3. Oh no, this was not a board game gal meetup. This was actually with the same girls from the board game gal meetup, but we ended up deciding to do a craft night. So this was a Monday night, June 26th, we had a craft night. And we played 3 different games just at the end of the night. These are 3 games that I've already chatted about in the past, but we played Scout. Absolutely love Scout. I cannot say enough good things about Scout. We also played Fuji Flush. Again, can't say enough good things about Fuji Flush. And then we played Priorities again. So this was when I was talking about playing Priorities with people that I didn't know as well. This was a great way for us to just have some laughs and learn some new things about each other. So really enjoyed playing Priorities with them. And then that following Tuesday, I played a solo game. And then it was a Board Game Gals Wednesday night get together. This was the cooperative night. So we ended up playing 2 cooperative games, and we ended off the night with not a cooperative game, but we don't really like stick to the theme too much. But I started off the night with a game called 5 Minute Dungeon, which is a game that I've heard a ton about, and it's a game that I never really I just never really wanted to try it. I've heard some good things, I've heard some meh things about it, but it is a real-time cooperative game where you are flipping over cards that are different challenges that you have to overcome as a group by just placing down different cards that each player has in their hands of different icons. So a card could flip over that needs a scroll and a sword, and then everyone has a bunch of different icons in their hand. I think you can only have 3 cards in your hand at a time unless like a card tells you to pick up more. But yes, you're playing down these cards, you're saying, oh, I have a scroll, and then you place it down. Another person places down a sword, and you push them off to the side, you flip over another card. You're going through all of these different cards. There are a bunch of different levels, and then as you go to higher levels, more cards get added that you have to defeat. But you're flipping over these cards, trying to defeat them all within 5 minutes. And then once you get to the end of those cards, there's going to be one boss that you have to defeat, and you have to do all of this in 5 minutes. So you're panicking and you're trying to get things done as quick as possible. There's going to be some instances where players don't have what you need for certain cards. So there's going to be some special ability cards that you have in your hand. Each player does have an asymmetric special ability as well. And it was very fun. It was chaotic, but it was a lot more fun, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. So that is 5 Minute Dungeon. And then after that, I already talked about this one, but we played Dorfromantik again. It was a cooperative night, and Dorfromantik is a cooperative game, so we played that again, and we finished off the night with a few games of Scout, which we absolutely love. And that leads us to the last night of June that I played some multiplayer games. That was June 29th. It was a Thursday. So I did play some games with my friends Tyler and Aiden. We started off the night with a game of Canopy, which is a 2-player only game. Aiden and I actually went to our friend local game store, and then we had a little bit of time between then and when Tyler wanted us to come over. So we actually just went to like a boba place and played Canopy, which this one is a 2-player only, just like card drafting set collection game. But there's a little bit of a different mechanic when it comes to the drafting of cards, because there's going to be 3 different piles of cards that are face down. You can look at one, decide if you want that one. It's going to only have 1 card in that pile. You decide, do you want it or do you want to keep on pushing? You can put that card back down. You can pick up the next pile that has 2 cards in it. You can say, do I want these 2 or do I want to push my luck and pick up the 3-card pile? Some cards are going to have some bad things in it, so sometimes you don't want to push your luck, sometimes you do, but you pick up the last 3 if you didn't want the other 2 piles, and then you have to keep those 3 and then place it into your tableau. There's going to be some set collection cards. There's going to be some cards that if you have a certain amount, you're going to get negative points. So there's this little bit of push your luck card drafting set collection. It's very fun. The art is absolutely gorgeous. We didn't get through a full game, but we really enjoyed it, and we are going to hopefully in the future actually get through a full game of Canopy. But it was really nice. We went to like a boba shop, and it actually had like a tree in it, so we actually played Canopy under a tree, which was pretty cool. But that was the first one, and then we went over to Tyler's and we played a game called Cryo, which Cryo is actually from Luke Laurie. Luke Laurie is the designer of Dwellings of Eldervale, and then he also recently published Andromeda's Edge, and it's really cool to see kind of the progression between the 3 because they all have some similarities. Luke Laurie really enjoys like adding tiles into your own like player board in order to like make your actions stronger as the game goes on, which I really enjoy. And that's something that you have in all 3 of his games. So it was really cool to see his earlier game already having played Dwellings of Eldervale and Andromeda's Edge, and seeing kind of that like progression of like he started with Cryo and then he added some stuff and then added some stuff, and each game is very individual, each game is very unique, but they all have those similarities deep down in the core of each of the games. But I really enjoyed Cryo. It is one that is, I believe, on sale at our friendly local game store, so I'm tempted to grab it. I think it's on sale for like $19.99, so $20, and it is a solid game. If you're looking for one that is similar to Dwellings of Eldervale, but it's not as big and as expensive, I definitely recommend checking out Cryo. It's very cool, has some similar mechanisms, and the components and stuff are absolutely gorgeous. For 20 bucks, if you can find it for 20 bucks, is very, very well worth it. So yes, that is Cryo. And the last game that we played that night was a game called Picky Eaters. This is a game from LeFou, I believe that is how you pronounce the publisher, but they are actually bringing Picky Eaters to Kickstarter very soon. I will put the date here of when it comes to Kickstarter, but they sent it over and I had a chance to try it. And this game kind of has similar vibes to a game that I recently covered here on the channel called Wild Gardens, where you're going out, you're collecting ingredients, you're cooking these ingredients into different recipes, and then you're serving these things to guests. That's kind of similar to what you're doing in Picky Eaters. It is a card drafting game, so you're drafting cards, whether those cards are special abilities, recipes, or ingredients from the middle. You're trying to collect certain ingredients to cook these certain recipes in order to score victory points for the recipes that the guests enjoy. So each round, a new guest is going to be flipped over. I believe by the end, you're going to have 5 different picky guests, and each guest is going to have some recipes that they really love, some that they like, some that they're okay with, and then some that they hate and then absolutely detest and will not eat at the bottom. And at the end of the game, whatever recipes that you have cooked, so I believe you can cook up to 5 different recipes, whatever recipes you have, you're going to gain victory points for based off of all of the different picky guests that you have. So you're trying to cook the best recipes that are going to get you the most points and try to avoid the recipes that, you know, one of your guests doesn't like. I will say it is pretty challenging to create these recipes because you only have a certain amount of cards in the center that you can draft from, and once those are drafted for that round, you're not going to be able to draft anymore until new ones get flipped out for the next round. So it is very difficult to come up with these ingredients, in particular for the recipes that you're trying to cook, and it gets a little bit frustrating when you can't find a particular ingredient for a certain recipe, so you kind of have to give up on that recipe at a certain point. So yes, there was a few times where I was just like, I can't make this recipe, I'm gonna have to give it up and try to come up with a new one. But yes, it was a little bit challenging, but very fun. I enjoyed it. The art was absolutely adorable. I just love food art. For some reason, food cards, like there's a macaroni and cheese recipe that I was like obsessed with, and like different recipe cards with all of the different like recipes were just adorable. And yeah, definitely go check it out if this is something that you think that you would enjoy. I will have a link down below to their Kickstarter so you guys can go and check it out if it is live right now, or go and follow it if it's something that you are interested in and want to get notified when it does go live. So that is everything for this video. My voice is slowly drifting away. I've been talking nonstop for the last hour, but hopefully you guys enjoyed hearing about all the games that I played multiplayer in the month of June. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up. Also hit that subscribe button if you've yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. Also let me know down below your favorite games for the month of June, maybe your top 3. I think I also mentioned that I wanted to show you guys a little bit of an update for my like challenges for 2023, but I will do that next month because I feel like this video is already long enough. I will give you guys a little bit of an update on the challenges next month. And I think for the month of June, my top 3 multiplayer games: Wizards of the Grimoire, for sure. Abyss, really enjoyed that one. And I think third would have to be Cryo. I really enjoyed Cryo as well, but Dwarf Romantic is also close in there. So Wizards of the Grimoire, Abyss, Cryo, and then Dwarf Romantic is a little bit of like an extra one there. So those are my favorite games of the month. Let me know your favorites down below. I love you guys so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you guys in the next board game video. Bye, friends.